Hey, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchesi with the No Flipping Excuses Show. I am so excited that you're joining us today on the YouTube channel. I've got a very exciting guest to share with you, but before I introduce him, I want to just say, hey, if you're not subscribed, which about 67, 68% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, I might be wrong on that. Mike's going to have something pop up here after we get this show done. But 67, 68% of you are not subscribed. So make sure you click that subscribe button below. We would love to have you become a subscriber to the channel. We're doing giveaways all the time, but it's only for people that take the time and hit that subscribe button. After today's episode too, make sure you smash that like button. We'd love to see your feedback from us. And as usual, we'll continue the conversation below. So make sure you leave a comment. If you have a question, I'll be more than happy to respond back to your question. And make sure to share this on all the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that type of stuff. That really helps us grow the channel, and it really feeds us to do more content like this for you to help you and your business. So without further ado, I've got Mr. Eddie Pulliam joining us today. Eddie's doing some amazing things down in the Georgia market, specifically around the Atlanta area. Eddie, how are you doing, man?
I am doing well. Thank you, Jason. Good friend of mine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know, you're a busy guy. You've got some stuff lined up today, and you've got some deals to go check out. So appreciate you squeezing us into that schedule, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime for you.
Awesome, dude. Well, so let's hop right into it, Eddie. For people that don't know who you are, why don't you share a little bit about you, how long you've been in the game, what wanted you to become a real estate investor full time? Kind of take us through that, man. I'd love to share your story with people.
Sure thing. So 2015, I read this book that I'm pretty sure we all have read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right?
Of course.
So I read the book. I ended up taking some courses. They had a free course. I really got hooked into the idea of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the financial literacy piece. So I ended up being upsold to Rich Dad, Poor Dad through Elite Legacy. Hence how I met Jason Palliser, right? So
Right.
I did a lot of education. I did a lot of books, a lot of networking, a lot of borrowing in the beginning, right? Trying to finance the education. And I come to a place where now I've learned that relationships are very, very important, right? And if you do good at focusing on building yourself with the relationships, it'll assimilate into other areas of the business, right? It helps you with building that power team, right? It helps you with the expansion. So when you actually go a little bit down the line, and I'm gonna take it to a point where I actually started making money. But in the beginning, it was a good setup to educate yourself, network, continue to educate yourself,
Right.
associate yourself with the right people. And when you go through obstacles, which you're guaranteed to go through in a new business, you're in an environment where you can come back. You're not going to be discouraged, because you're going to get discouraged. But at least if you're in an environment where people are doing the same thing, it will take you away from being discouraged as much. And it'll give you a better chance of being successful and staying in the game a lot longer. So I guess in the beginning, that was the very first thing that I tried to focus on, is the relationships piece, networking, and expanding my education. And then because I'm an engineer, right?
I didn't know that.
Yep, let me take a little step back.
So you went to school for that?
I went to school for mechatronics engineering. So I got a whole robotics degree at Southern Polytechnic State.
So Eddie's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I see a lot of people that have that either they are coming from the engineer side or they have that engineer mindset. Did that somewhat hold you back initially from having that paralysis analysis type thing? Like, I know engineers, they need to analyze everything before they actually start taking action. Did you have that problem at all?
Oh yeah, I definitely have that problem.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So it's normal. It's normal, but you have to get off. You have to get off that pot sooner or later. Tell us about that. Like, you analyzed probably a lot. What really ignited you to finally be like, okay, I need to just get up and go?
Honestly, the credit cards.
Yes, that'll do it.
That'll do it. I also had a strong why to try to retire my parents. Um, and doing something more than just working a job. You know, I always wanted to not be capped. And I think this business has opened up that environment to not be capped, and you can still help people and make money all along the way.
Sure.
So engineering background, super analytical. So in the beginning, it was a lot of, again, studying. And I know a lot of people go through that. But eventually you have to do something, right? And when I did start doing things, I was doing a lot of things, but didn't really, you're just winging it.
Right.
And in people don't talk about this, but when you go through certain systems, unless you actually have, and I'm going to talk about the blueprint system that actually catapulted my success, but a lot of the education pieces, you're taking different classes and you're basically doing a quilt approach, right? Because you don't necessarily have something that you can focus on and focus in on the money. You just have all of this information. So you're literally an information overload. So I kept trying to come up with this system and this system, but I'm piecing the classes together, but they're different people teaching the classes. So it's different systems. So if you can imagine, I'm just doing a lot of different things. And I want to say it took me about 10 months to close my first deal. And when it closed, I said, what did I do? That was the very first thing I just kept trying to figure out. I was like, dang, because I want to be able to do it again.
Right.
And oh my goodness, out of all of the things, all of the ups and the downs that you go through trying to get leads, whether I was writing letters, I was just trying. At that point, I was not cold calling. I was very scared in the beginning to cold call. So I was not cold calling in the beginning, but I was doing a lot of letters, tried to do some texting. I tried to do some Craigslist stuff, Craigslist ads, and networking with other wholesalers. But I ended up closing on a Drive for Dollars lead, and it was somebody that I met at a RIA meeting who bought my first property. And after closing it, I went through so many different things in my mind of how did I get that lead? How can I continue to do that over and over again? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? So you go through all of these different things because it's like, yes, it finally works. I finally know that this thing works, but how can I do it again? And I think that piece, a lot of people don't get to that point because they quit before.
Right.
And that's a part of having a strong resolve, a strong resilience, and surrounding yourself with those people in the beginning. I think that helped with where I'm at today.
Absolutely, man. And I think there was something really big there that a lot of people didn't probably catch. And you were wanting to find out where that lead came from so that you could duplicate it over and over again with some sort of predictability. That is what we call KPIs, folks, your key performance indicators. And if you could trace everything back properly, now you'll know where to start having your focus from a marketing standpoint. Because like Eddie was saying, a lot of us have this problem, right? I had it too. I remember sitting down on my office floor surrounded by courses and I didn't know where to go. So Eddie, I feel your pain, man. We were all there at some point in time, but we just decided to stick with it because we really had the whys, and I really love and admire your whys there. But one thing I want you guys to take away from just that part right there is being able to track your leads, because you don't want to just be sending off to 6, 7, 8 different lead sources and you have no idea where that's coming from. Yeah, that's not a good business that will give you the predictability you want, especially in income. So I appreciate you kind of pointing that out, Eddie. You probably didn't realize it, but that's a great point that a lot of people really don't understand. So that I appreciate you doing that. So with where you're at right now, so let's just fast forward to you close the deal after 10 months. You realized, hey, this real estate thing is real. What do you start doing at that point then?
So at that point, I'm still trying to figure out how to keep closing more consistently. At this point, I don't grasp. I'm still at this point in time, I still have all of my juices going, right? Because now I have this motivation and this fire up under me that I know that is real. And the next piece is I'm starting to document and still take a lot of massive action.
Mm-hmm.
But at this particular time, I still don't quite know, but I'm still figuring things out. And I want to say I did close a couple of more deals along the way, winging it. And until I actually start speaking more with Jason Palizer, you know, when he brought me in on the blueprint, he will always get on me about being over analytical. And dude, when I tell you that blueprint changed my whole mindset, because it was more so just do, is like laid out step by step by step. Right. Jason would always say, just stop thinking, just implement. So just to rewind it back to where we were a couple of deals before, I get into the blueprint training. I go through the training, and for anybody who's gone through the blueprint training, it is a lot. It is, right. It is your brain is in information overload. You start going through deals that you've done before, that you start counting and seeing how much money you missed out on because of how you structured it. It's probably not structured the way that we structure it now. You realize so many different things at this point that more excitement is being reignited. But I think after going through the training, and at that time I had another business partner, me and my business partner, we stayed a whole additional day. On the third day, we hung out with Jason and we set up all of our funnels. Well, we set up a few funnels. Yeah. And we started testing before we even left. And at the time it was Florida. We started testing. A week later, got a deal closed. I was like, oh, that was quick. All right. That was quick. And at this point, we are tracking. I think that came from Drive for Dollars. Sure. The next week, another deal closed. The next week, another deal closed. At this point, I've never had a deal back to back, like closing once a week. And I think I did it for like 7 weeks straight after coming out of that training. Yeah. Because I knew exactly what I was doing at this point in time. I wasn't overthinking. I wasn't thinking about trying to set up an LLC or focusing on activities that's not making money. I was focusing on activities that actually make you money without thinking, and doing more action, less thinking. Found out later on that you can create a mess and not be the smartest person in the room, but as long as you have all the leads, right, a lot of people want to partner with you. Yes. So the ability to increase the lead flow, I would say, catapulted my business, where I was able to do fix and flips at the same time. I've done about 13 or 14 fix and flips with my previous partner. Nice. And done a few buy and holds. Like I've done a couple of Airbnbs. I've done um, what is it called? Attempted to do a alcohol rehab center, which was not successful.
Wow. Well, at least you were thinking you had your mindset in the right
All
direction.
of the leads came from the blueprint, though. This is how I was able to bring in a funnel and start doing it a lot more consistently, and being a little bit more on command with my business versus guessing as to what to do to bring in leads.
Yeah. Wow. That's that. And so not to interrupt you there, but so 7 deals over 7 weeks, so a deal a week. What was kind of like the average you were seeing like being generated from a profit standpoint on those deals?
Um, Anywhere between 7 to maybe 15 grand.
Nice. So
Yeah,
that
we was able to make our money back very quickly.
Yeah, I would say so. After, one deal, you're pretty much set and ready to go from there. So all of those 7 deals were wholesale deals.
All of them.
So Eddie, let me ask you this, because I always like to ask this, especially to folks that are closing deals. How much money did you actually have to do out of pocket? Did you have to go get any bank financing or?
Bank financing.
Okay, no bank financing. Did you guys have money out of your own pocket for any of those deals?
So most of those deals, if I did put up any earnest money, it was maybe $100 to $500, which I got back at closing.
Sure. So for those of you listening out there, $100 to $500, you could get that in your deals, not a problem. Sometimes you could get away with $10 from a
Sometimes you can do
standpoint.
zero.
Exactly. So, hey, book your free strategy session call today by going to 2daycall.com. That's the number 2daycall.com. We'd love to talk to you about how we're tapping into 34 plus lead generation off-market strategies in your market. Most of them too are free. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can help you and your business thrive right now. Head on over to 2daycall.com. Talk to you later. Bye. So you at home thinking you need all of this money to do wholesaling is not right. It's not accurate. But with what Eddie's doing right now, by doing wholesaling, it leads to the next part in building your empire. And that is having cash flowing assets that are paying you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's the big Warren Buffett thing, right? Like you have to be paying without, or you have to be receiving income from you not expending so much energy yourself. And some folks, they might get to that point to where they realize that, because you could only be slanging and banging wholesale deals for so long before you get burnt out and you're like, you know what? This is too much for me. And you made all this money, but you need to be reinvesting back in your business. So I like that you've done fix and flips. I love that you've done to buy and holds and some Airbnb stuff. So you're obviously doing some really great things within your business. After attending the blueprint, where are you at nowadays with your business, Eddie? I know you've got this amazing flock of hair that I'm extremely jealous of. So besides that, what else is going on in your world, man?
I would say, so I think wholesaling will never go away. It just it gets added to, your strategies. So now it's just cherry picking deals. I know the market is shifting.
Yep.
So I've been positioning myself for picking up more buy and holds. I'm still doing wholesaling. I have not done any fix and flips since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But I am doing a few creative finance deals right now that, is mainly for buy and holds. But I would say primarily wholesaling and looking for those good home run deals to pick up.
Nice. I like that. And when did you realize the transition of, hey, I need to kind of diversify the portfolio a little bit? Because I agree with you. Wholesaling is not going away anytime soon. Even if they try and stick the whole licensing thing on people, there's a way around it. It's just simply called an A to B B2C transaction. So there you go, folks. Don't need to worry about the licensing. And if you want to get that verified from an attorney, by all means, go ahead and do so. But when did you realize, because for us, we like 70% wholesaling still, and then the other 30% is kind of like building up for long-term wealth. Where would you say like that light bulb went off? Like, I need to be, kind of diversifying my business a little bit to where it's not all wholesaling.
I think because you go through waves in wholesaling, there's nothing like having some buy and holds, because especially if you bought buy and holds when the market was going up, you can catch the equity. So when wholesaling was, if it ever did get short, you always have property that you can capture on that equity. But I would also say is because you come across so many leads, some deals are bound to just fall in your lap. You can't really say no to if it's right there.
Yeah.
I am targeting, I guess my transition too would be more so like also Airbnbs, but like veteran homes, senior care homes, and building a portfolio that way.
Yeah. I love that you're doing things for vets. Mike over here is a vet. We've got 2 other guys on the team that are vets that served our country. I've got a big heart for, giving back to veterans as well. I believe we wouldn't have the country that we have today without those folks, going and fighting on our behalf. And also for the elderly folks too. That's a huge one, to where a lot of these folks, and this from being in the business, you've done probates and seen like going into mom and dad's houses and seeing just, wow, they lived like this for that long. Like if we could come in before any type of a probate process happens and we could give them peace of mind, maybe going to a senior living community, I think that'd be great. And it would also give less stress to any of the heirs or beneficiaries that are on there. And it also helps out if mom and dad don't have wills too. We can
absolutely
step in there and help out. You and I are going through that situation right now with somebody we know. There wasn't a will in place, so it makes things really difficult. So even if we could help out from that standpoint and maybe close a deal and then be like, hey, part of the deal is we're going to take care of, you getting asset protection and a will set up with our attorney. Just like little things like that. You went through the blueprint and saw like, maybe we might not be able to close this deal, but we see the grass is really long. Let's just go out. Let's go over there and mow it, and get that taken care of. Like just being like a human being to.
It's just literally adding. You really want to be a good, genuine. That's another thing about this business. The more you put out good seeds, that's what this business is about. It's going to come back tenfold.
Yep. I agree. You're not going to see those seeds grow right away. It's like, I bring this up a lot. I feel like I talked about this yesterday, the whole Steve Harvey thing where he talks about jumping off the cliff and everybody thinks their parachute's going to open up right away. It's not. Eddie told you it took 10 months. Mine was about 9-10 months, my first deal as well. Our parachute did not open a lot. It was a lot of late nights. I had the credit cards too, man. Lots of late nights, like questioning yourself, questioning your sanity. Like, should I be doing this? I'm not making any money.
It's been a long time now. Is it going to really work for me?
Exactly. Like, so your parachute's not going to open, just like planting those good seeds. You might not see the rewards or the benefits or reapings right away, but it takes a little bit of time, and you have to be patient. You have to be willing to you have to be that individual that's like, my parachute's probably not going to open right away, but it will. I'm going to be patient. I have faith in myself. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing nowadays is they don't have that faith in themselves. And one thing, since I brought the whole faith thing up, when did you have the realization to where you didn't want to do cold calls at first? And trust me, I don't like doing those either, but maybe if it was structured more like to a warm situation, like you just mailed somebody an important letter, and it's a helping letter, kind of like what we do for our tax assistance approach. What led you to, okay, I might need to start making some phone calls here, maybe some outreach through text messages as well. What kind of helped you tackle that fear? Because a lot of people have that fear to where they literally do not want to talk to people on the phone. How did you tackle that?
No, I honestly, oh man, there was so many different things that I was doing. I was playing music.
Mm-hmm.
I try to put myself around other people who were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That helps too, being around other people who's doing it, but you're not going to always have that. So
Sure.
you have to be self-motivated. And to get over that hump, you just got to call. I think once you call and continue to call, no matter the no's, because in the 2-day blueprint, some will, someone who cares, but just continue to call. When you get that one that says yes, that's going to erase all the last 10 to 15 calls, maybe even 20 calls that you just made that was deflating your confidence, and it would immediately reverse it. Just having a conversation. And I think continuing to call and trying to go for the no to get a yes kept me calling. And then it's like, oh, once you kind of look through the rear view and it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to get cussed out every call, and that's not true.
Right.
It's not true. It might be every 50 calls. No, I'm just kidding.
So dude, let me ask you then. So you had a lot of no's. We all have had a lot of no's. If like with those no's, did you ever meet any of those people in person that said no to you? I know it's a weird question, right?
Yeah. Some people, a lot of times, if I did meet that person, I get a lot better results with the rapport, meeting the owner in person. And a lot of times you can keep them in your follow-up a lot longer when you do that walkthrough.
Well, the main reason I ask that is, say for instance, you go 100% on getting no's. Maybe you make 50 calls. All of them say no. The likelihood of you actually ever meeting that person in person is like almost 0%. So
yeah, very slim.
You have to be able to pick up the phone and understand if somebody is upset, it's more than likely not you. I would say almost 100% of the time, it's not you. Something might be going on in their life that you have no idea about. Maybe they just lost a loved one. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they have so much credit card debt. They're in so much stress. So just, you have to know going in, if somebody's mad and they cuss you out over the phone, it's not because of you. It's something else is going on in their life. So I appreciate you kind of sharing that. I think that was the first time I ever asked that question, because I want people to get comfortable being uncomfortable making those calls. You have to face fear right in its face and just say, you suck, I'm going to make it happen.
You got to know the money is on the other side of that call.
Yeah.
The other side of those calls are the money. And yeah, it's really that. I would also say this is another thing that from a spiritual standpoint, is a lot of people, they do work, they do enough to stay frustrated, but not enough to go all the way through with the task at hand. Yeah. Whether it's a goal or whatever it is. So being relentless all the way through, right? Until you get that deal, because it's literally that extra push, that extra phone call, you might get that deal. That last phone call, you might get a deal. So
yeah, absolutely, man. And I know we're getting to the end of the show here. I know you've got a hard stop here, and I just want to be mindful of your time. A couple questions that I just wanted to add before we go ahead and wrap up here. What's a maybe a book or an audio book that you have listened to over the years? I know you said Rich Dad Poor Dad, so we're not gonna plaster that one up because we've all kind of heard that one. But I want to hear something unique that maybe we haven't heard before that's kind of helped you over the years, like kind of stay focused, maybe inspire you, give you a little motivation. And it necessarily doesn't have to be a real estate book, right? But maybe something that really kind of, ignited you to where you're like, oh man, this is great. What do you have a book like that off the top of your head that you could think of?
the first book that I would say that helped me with negotiation specifically was called Never Split the Difference.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That book, oh my goodness, Never Split the Difference, because it helps you with the tonation. It helps with so many different nuances that you wouldn't even think of until you read the book.
Mm-hmm. That's a good book, man. That's a really good book. And I'm an audio book guy. I can't sit down and read for some reason. I'll get into about 10 pages and then I'll start getting tired. I don't know what it is. That's always been the story of my life there. The audiobook is really good because, you could kind of feel like he starts talking about things because he was a former FBI negotiator, and you kind of like get the visualization as he's describing it. It's a great book. I'm sure it's great too in the written format, just like a hard copy. So I appreciate you sharing that. And then lastly, guys, if you at home that are watching this, maybe you might want to work with Eddie. Eddie's vast in so many different things in real estate investing. He's doing some great things down in the state of Georgia and the Atlanta area. I know he's going to look at a deal from somebody that posted something in our group. She got a great deal, and it's about 30 minutes away from Eddie. It's a hot lead. They're going to go check it out. Main reason why I'm bringing this up is if you maybe don't want to do real estate investing, but maybe you've got some capital just sitting there on the sidelines, definitely check out with Eddie. He's got properties coming across all the time that he can help you with. If you're just wanting to get into real estate, but you don't want to like do it the business, Eddie could help you with that. Maybe you're looking for some deals. Maybe you're a buyer. Maybe you want that next fix and flip. Maybe you want that next buy and hold, and you want it in that area because the Atlanta area is a really solid, stable market. And, people go there for B&Bs as well. So maybe that might be something you're interested in. So Eddie, how can people get a hold of you if maybe that's some of the stuff that they would like to do with you from a JV standpoint?
Sure. I would say they can reach me via email. It's my first name, Eddie, EDDIE, B as in boy, PULL @gmail.com.
Awesome. And we'll have that pop up here after we're done here. And we're doing the editing. So Eddie, one last time, can you go ahead and repeat your email, please?
Email is Eddie, which is EDDIE, B as in boy, PULL @gmail.com.
Awesome, man. Well, any parting words that you have for our folks out there that, made it this far into this episode?
Don't give up. Focus on people, if you can, who have to sell versus who want to sell. It will save you a lot of time. Powerful. If you had 5 contracts, 5 have to sell and 5 want to sell. If you had 5 have to sell, you will save so much more time. You would be easier with negotiations. You will have a lot higher motivation. If you're dealing with the 5 that just want to sell, you might deal with somebody canceling the contract. You might deal with somebody upselling you on your price, right? And they might upbid you and the seller do something crazy and cancel your contract just to get. So there's a lot of have to sell versus want to sell. That's a bar.
Oh man, I love that. That's a great share. What do you categorize the lead that you're going to be going to look at here?
Have to sell. They have to sell at the end of the month. They have to. Otherwise, they lose.
What happens?
That. Focus on the have to sales versus the want to. The want to sales, you can put them in a pipeline. You can put them in a follow-up. You don't want to lose them, but focus on the have to sell. You will make so much more money.
Absolutely. That's powerful right there from Eddie. So guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, if you enjoyed everything that Eddie shared, make sure you drop a comment below. This was a grand slam in my opinion. We had Eddie come on and he delivered amazingly to us. He was getting 101 mile an hour fastballs at him, and he was hitting it. He was getting it. So drop a comment below. Let us know what you enjoyed most about today's show. And if you're one of those individuals that has not subscribed, make sure you click that button below. We would love to have you part of the community. Make sure you give us a big thumbs up here. And if you really got a lot out of today's show, make sure you share this on all the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, even take a picture of your with your phone and share it on Instagram. Be like, oh, this was an amazing episode. We love this one. Eddie, you did an amazing job. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, man. This was really great. This was a really great episode, and I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely, man. You guys at home, have a great day. Eddie, you have a great day too, man. Good luck on your lead here. Hope to hear about it here soon.
Right on. Thank you. Take care.
Hey, go grab a copy of our brand new book. We'd love to put this in your hands. The Art of Flipping Deals. You could go grab your copy today at theflippingbook.com. Make sure you head on over to theflippingbook.com. We'd love to get this in your hands today and show you exactly how you could get free exclusive inbound leads in your business today. Make sure you head on over to theflippingbook.com. Take care. Bye.